It's in a weird spot. Okay, thank you. I want to start with what I think is the most important thing. Your learners spend 3 hours every Sunday with Mora Georgia, and you all don't know her. So I would like to start with Georgia introducing herself and telling you all about who she is and why she has landed in the scenario in which she is your learner's educator.
Hi everyone. I'm Georgia Freed. I am a sophomore at Barnard College and the Jewish Theological Seminary in the dual degree program. I'm majoring in American Studies and I think Jewish history, still exploring my options. I am originally from Columbus, Ohio. So yeah, a little bit far from home in the city, but I've been loving it. I have gone to summer camp my whole life. I go to a camp called Camp Tavor. It's a little camp in Michigan. Not a lot of people know it. And I've worked there the last 2 years. I've actually worked with sixth and seventh graders for the last 2 years. So just as this feels like a natural continuation of what I feel like I'm really good at. I love kids these age. I think they're just like the funniest, most enthusiastic, curious people. And yeah, I had a blast working with them this summer. And then a friend of mine, Miriam Singer, works at TBI as well. And I was looking around for jobs, thinking about Hebrew school and Sunday school, and she recommended Anya and TBI to me. So yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to be with your kids on Sundays.
And it was extra fun because Miriam was last year's teacher. So
Yes.
Miriam literally handed off her brood to Georgia and brought her into the fold, which is really fun. Um, thanks, Georgia. Okay, so let's chat about all of the things we're doing this year. I'm going to start with two things that are totally brand new to our program entirely this year, and then we'll chat about some of the other things. One thing that's completely brand new to TBI this year is a new curriculum called Positively Torah. This curriculum came to me over the summer, and I wasn't entirely sure about it until I really started thinking about one missing connection that I've noticed. Positively Torah uses the Torah stories that your learners already have familiarity with. These are not like new stories, they're sort of, they use some of the like greatest hit stories. So it's not stories that are new. We're not learning new Torah. What we are doing with this Torah that is already very accessible and familiar is trying to approach the same text from a different perspective. So the perspective that Positively Torah approaches everything from is about the character strengths of the Torah characters. So the entire curriculum actually starts very learner centered with something that your class did this past Sunday, which was a character strength quiz. We used the VIA character quiz online. It offers 24 categories of strengths. They were able to identify their top 5 strengths, and we're going to use those 5 strengths for themselves. All of the strengths collectively that they identified in the class, the 24th strengths identified in the VIA strength test, and what we're actually going to do is apply those character strengths to the characters in the Torah that we're already familiar with. Why do I think this is valuable and important? I love the Devar Torah mentorship program that we have at TBI. If you're not familiar with it, we do something which I think is remarkably special, which is that in the B'nai Mitzvah year, we have community members in TBI who volunteer to be Devar Torah mentors for our B'nai Mitzvah learners. That means they spend time to help them read their Torah portion, understand their Torah portion, and interpret it to be meaningful for their own selves. This is a task that is not so simple for a 12-year-old. This is really pushing them to think critically about the world and to really try to understand Torah, which often feels like these stories that feel really distant and not that we're not connected to. My goal and my hope with this Positively Torah curriculum is for them to see themselves and to be able to identify more deeply with these stories that are familiar. So it doesn't just feel like a story that I have no connection with, but actually, oh my goodness, that is so nice that Noah clearly had the strength of kindness, and I do too. And look at that. I'm in the Torah. You're in the Torah. We're all in Torah. My hope is that as they're learning how to perceive these stories from the perspective of like the human-centered focus of our, strengths and who we are, that that'll help with a little piece of this connection with the Devar Torah experience, where as they're reinterpreting the text to find it meaningful for themselves, that they're also able to see themselves in the text in a way that is really challenging for this age. Um, Michael Smalo has a lot of firsthand experience because thank God he is one of our Dvar Torah mentors, and he's seen across many years. Yes, a clap for that for sure. It's really hard. It's hard for them to really see themselves in the text. My hope is that this curriculum will help them to reinterpret in a way that feels like they have a connection with this text in a meaningful way. So that is brand new to TBI this year, and I'm really excited about it. So we kicked it off this past Sunday where they were able to identify their own 5 strengths, and that'll fold out into many sessions throughout the year where they'll continue to reassess some of the stories, the characters, and the character traits that they see there. Another brand new to TBI experience this year, coming from the brilliant creative minds of my education committee, 2 of whom are represented here in this space. Also, clap for those folks, is our Shabbat Sunday experience. So, we have seen over the years that I've been here that folks are tending not to show up for Shabbat morning in a way that we hoped that they might. We understand we're competing with a lot of things. Life is real. We're a part of a larger life experience for all of our TBI families. And that makes it really challenging sometimes to be at TBI on Saturday mornings. That is true. And it is really important for our learners to feel what it feels like to sit in our sanctuary and have a Shabbat morning experience. We'll continue to do junior congregation and hope that your learners continue to come to that. And we're working on making that more meaningful, robust, and good experience for them. And by no means does this take away from us hoping that learners will continue to come for Shabbat morning whenever it's possible. But as a supplement to that, we are going to offer a new program this year that's a family experience called Shabbat Sundays. It's just 2 Sundays in the whole year at the end of the fall semester, at the end of the spring semester. And on those Sunday mornings, we will entirely pretend that it is actually Shabbat. We will invite you to join us. We will ask for everyone to dress as though it's Shabbat. We will greet everyone with a Shabbat Shalom. And we're going to split the entire school into 2 halves. We'll do K through 3rd and then 4th through 7th. So your 6th grade learners will be part of our TBI community, the Kahal, of being there in the sanctuary with you all, with their families, with their educators, and with Rabbi Mike on the Bima, and Josh, who is their tefillah educator, also there to support, and have an abbreviated, it will still only be 90 minutes and not a whole Shabbat morning, because we're also still realistic humans, and wanted to not be torture. We're not trying to torture here. But in that 90 minutes, they will have opportunities to participate, and we will have goals with Mora Georgia and with Josh in their tefillah, so that on those days they will have opportunities for leadership and to show some of the things that they've learned. We're building lots of things into the curriculum to help support that, but we really hope that those are 2 days. They will have a little bit of the sense of what it might feel like to be here on a Saturday morning, if otherwise it feels impossible for families to offer that opportunity for them. I'm not entirely talking to the right audience in this moment, but it is true that that is not the case for all of our families. So I'm trying to think critically about how to create that opportunity for everyone. That is leading me into something that I really wanted to share with you, which is something that I am not 100% sure that every single person knows about, which is our interactive Google school and programming calendar. So I'm just going to share my screen for a minute and show you all both the calendar and also the dates for those two Shabbat Sunday programs. This Google Calendar is something that I send in most of my emails that as a clickable link, but just so everybody has an understanding of how to use this as a resource, it has on it every single religious school thing program that's happening. So for example, Kitah Zion just had their Holocaust curriculum last Sunday. That's on there. It has our programs. We had pizza at the park and softball with Mike. That's on there. Anything that's blue means that it's a clickable link, and it's either a link to an RSVP page, like the case with this program that I did last Thursday with our Shinshanim and our teen program for Israel, or it's a clickable link for a Zoom or whatever else it might be. Or sometimes it's just a clickable link to find more information about the program. This is just a document that outlines what the program is if you're interested in learning more about that. So this resource is accessible once you click on it. It's in your Google Drive always, and you can access it really easily from there anytime that you want. So I'm just going to skip to a couple important dates that this class has coming up. We have our first Moving Traditions this Sunday. I'm going to talk more about that in just a second. And then we also have on November 5th, our Community Mitzvah Sunday, our Rise Against Hunger program. It was a huge success in the spring. And a lot of families in the spring said, hey, we're so busy with all of our spring sports. Can you try it in the fall next year? And it fit right into our Midah for November. So we're doing it then. So this goes again to the RSVP link here. And then our first Shabbat Sunday is on Sunday. It's here on the calendar, December 17th. It's the last Sunday of the semester. We're going to be doing on the 10th, of course, lots of fun Hanukkah programming during religious school. The 17th, it'll be a nice way to close out the semester to showcase a lot of the stuff that they've done together and to be all together in the sanctuary on a Sunday morning, but really a Shabbat morning, but really a Sunday morning, Shabbat Sunday. So that is another new program that we're rolling out. Quickly, I wanted to just mention Moving Traditions. This class launched their Moving Traditions curriculum and experience last year. You weren't able to be with us. It's a family program. Yes, good idea. Absolutely. I will gladly put the link to this in the chat. Perfect. Moving Traditions is a family program. It is 2 hours. You will still drop your learner off at 9 as usual. We do still want them to have an hour of instructional time. And then you'll arrive just before 10. I'll have a coffee station set up for you. And you'll come and we'll start our Moving Traditions program at 10 a.m. You've done it once before last year with Maura Miriam. I'm very excited. It'll be Georgia's first time doing Moving Traditions program. I'm sure she's really looking forward to it. And of course, Rabbi Mike loves to get to spend this kind of time with the family. So he's really looking forward to it as well. The topic for this Sunday is called Repairing the World. It's the one that we've done for the past couple years for the first one for 6th grade, but it feels really important now more than ever. And it'll be the opening dialogue to help our learners start to consider what they'd like to pursue for their mitzvah project as part of their B'nai Mitzvah experience. So it'll be the kickoff to that conversation. So that's this Sunday with Moving Traditions. Great. The other big piece of their curriculum this year is Midrash. I'm really excited to dive into this. Again, this is a class that knows Torah, is familiar with the Torah stories, has a lot of that. And what feels really important to me in terms of Jewish education is understanding when Torah is Torah and when Midrash is Midrash. And I think, I know for myself, I would often hear stories and think, oh, that's from the Torah, and then be like really bewildered when actually it's not in the Torah at all. It's just a common story. And so I always assumed it was in the Torah, but actually it's Midrash. So they're going to be really diving in to understand what is Midrash. which is really the art of the rabbis filling in the blanks of what's missing from the Torah, looking at Torah stories and asking the questions of what details are left out, which is often a lot. There's a lot to be, filled in there. And so they're going to both be looking at classical midrashim, the stories that are often told, as well as learning how to adapt and create their own to fill in questions that are more relevant to their world today. And when we're reading Torah today, what are the questions that we have? And where do our questions and the rabbi's questions overlap? And where do they totally not at all? So Midrash is the other really big piece of the curriculum. Georgia, what am I forgetting? Oh, obviously the Shinshanim we have again. You all know that that's part of our program. Lotem is here with us on Sundays. She's so lovely. We've been patient with her in her experience with processing everything happening in Israel and her friends. The Shinshanim this year have this particular thing that they're holding on to, which is really a bit of guilt. Their friends did not defer their army service, so they're all experiencing what's happening in a really particular way, and they're feeling some guilt that their friends are there and they're not, and trying to understand what that means for them, and also sort of like doubling down in the importance of what their roles are here for us. So that's been an interesting experience of how to support them, but they're launching back into the classrooms. This past Sunday, Lotem came to Kitah Vav and actually had Kitah Vav write letters to her own personal friends so that she could mail them something from here, from these communities that she's building relationships with, which I think is so beautiful. Okay, Georgia, what else we got? What did I forget?
I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I think you covered it.
Okay. Parents, I just realized that Georgia introduced herself to you, but she doesn't know who you belong with. Maybe you all could do a quick round of introductions and tell Georgia a minute about yourselves and who you belong to and your TBI experience. That would be nice. Michael, just since you're already unmuted, I might start with you if that's okay.
Yeah, perfect. I just realized I've been unmuted the whole time. Good evening, everyone. Hi, Georgia. I'm Ezra's dad, Michael. And yeah, anything else you want us to say about ourselves? Am I unmuted?
You are, yeah. Georgia,
Perfect.
what else do you want to know about Michael?
I don't know.
We're putting you on the spot a little bit.
We've been busy the last couple of weeks because we had some family over in Israel. One of my wife's first cousins was by Gaza and he was rescued by the IDF. My mom has been back to Israel twice since the crisis because she's involved with Hadassah. So Ezra's got a lot of he's paying attention as much as an 11-year-old you might expect. And that's our story.
Well,
Great,
Michael, I didn't even know any of that. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
Jill, I'm just going in the order that you all appear on my screen.
Hi, Georgia. My name's Jill. I'm Ford's mom. And we're really happy that you're his teacher. And I have to tell you, he literally just not my first child to do this, but he's very happy to go to school every Sunday. Even, I'll say, okay, so, you have to be like, not, he's like, oh, I know, I'm ready. He just never complains about it. He says it's fun and he's enjoying it. And so you're doing something right, which is great. So thank you.
That's awesome to hear. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jill.
Sure.
Jenny?
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm Zach's mom. So I'll apologize in advance for all the questions I'm sure you're going to get this year. This is a great group of kids. Most of them have been together since Shorashim. Some have joined later, but fit in seamlessly. So it's just been a really nice group watching them grow up together. And Georgia, we're so excited to have you be part of the TBI family.
Thanks, Jenny. Carolyn?
Yeah, Carolyn, I'm Adam's mom, and that's his dad's head in the back there. Yeah, Adam was very excited about the personality test in particular and the Midrash stories. So thanks for introducing that. It's a new element, and he's very interested in what else is going to happen this year. We just went through the bar mitzvah experience with his older brother. We celebrated a year of his bar mitzvah this past weekend. So,
oh my gosh, that's right. No,
Yeah.
Noah, that's
Yeah.
right.
so
Fun.
feel like we just went through this moving traditions and now we're going to move through it again. So I guess that's what a tradition is, right?
I sense your excitement.
I'm very excited.
Thanks, yeah. Elizabeth? Oh, you're muted, Elizabeth.
I know. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Hi.
That's okay.
I'm Nicholas's mom and very excited. I'm a TBI graduate since preschool, so I'm living proof that it worked. We're so excited and so excited to watch Nicholas grow into a bar mitzvah, and it's really he's enjoying it much more this year. He's really having a great time.
Great. I was actually thinking when George and I were working on the Midrash curriculum, we're talking about it a little bit. And part of what we hope that they'll do this year is to, in writing and creating their own Midrash, is to also act it out. And I remember immediately saying, oh my gosh, Adam and Nicholas are gonna love this. Like they're my like fun theater buds that are so into all of that. So I'm excited to see how that unfolds. But really, the whole class, I think, will find sort of their element in what that will look like, and writing and the music and the elements and the acting out and all of that. So I think everyone will find their happy place in creating and reinterpreting Midrashim this year, which I'm excited about. So I'll just open it to some questions if you all have any, either for me about the curriculum, the school as a whole, for Georgia, all the things. I guess I'll just add one other thing really quickly, which is that the very, very first Sunday, which was all like a year ago, was that a year ago? I feel like I'm just like Jacob is celebrating the year anniversary of his bar mitzvah. I feel like I'm celebrating the year anniversary of the first day of religious school. That was like actually just 2 months ago. They got the text for their Haftorah that they've already started working on during their Hebrew Zoom. And I just have to tell you the level of joy when I walked in the room and I was like, oh, I have something really special for you. When they found out it was their Haftorah text, it was a party. They were so excited. And I was like, yes, this is the energy that I want. And they have been doing such a good job working through it. And I really have seen over the past 2 years since we've started this program in this exact format, yeah, it's a party. That's right. That when they're able to get through being able to read their Haftorah text really fluently by the end of Kitah Vav, when they start their B'nai Mitzvah tutoring with Josh, it is so much less stressful and overwhelming. It just feels like it flows in a way that it hadn't before. They've been exposed to the Tefillah curriculum now for so many years. They're learning a lot. Like there's just less pressure in what Tefillah they're learning with Josh, and everything seems to just be moving a lot more smoothly, with less stress and less trauma. That's what we're always trying to avoid. We're seeing the success of all of that. So I'm really excited about their excitement for that first step towards this whole process.
So Anya, they don't start learning trope until next year?
So okay, I'm gonna answer this I'm gonna answer this like very wholly, because I'm gonna tell you what my vision and my hope was and what didn't happen and then what is going to happen. Last year when I hired Maura Miriam, her original position was actually to be the trope educator and pull out Tefillah educator to support all of our learners in a lot of different ways so that everyone was getting the type of support that they needed. I wasn't able to hire enough educators for her to be a pullout educator. She ended up being a primary classroom educator. This year, we got this close to hiring enough educators for her to be the pullout educator. And in the last minute, this lovely human, Alex, found out that she was not allowed to legally work in America. And we were one teacher short. So Miriam is again a classroom educator. I am trying to find creative, manipulative ways to see if we can pull Miriam out to support Kitah Vav in trope, but I haven't quite figured out the exact calculation in our schedule and rhythm to make it work yet. It's not totally out of the question. As of right now, it's the first thing that Josh works on when he starts their B'nai Mitzvah tutoring. They start their B'nai Mitzvah tutoring 1 year ahead of their B'nai Mitzvah date, which really typically allows about 10 months of actual tutoring, because we assume that often they're gone in the summer for about 2 months. But when he starts with them, because they're in a place where they are reading their Haftorah and know a lot of the tefillot, he starts with trope, teaching trope.
Okay, so it's not next year. It's whenever a year is from their bar mitzvah.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's with Josh, and it's one-on-one, so that it's
okay.
Whatever their pace is.
That was really what I was asking.
World, okay. I know, but I also wanted to give you the context because I want you to know that this is a process that I've been going through and a goal and a hope that I have set for the school as a whole. So that's why I answered in that way.
Thanks. It's the clergy who stinks, not you.
Okay. Well, let Rabbi know.
I know all the parents on this phone, so I'll say it. But that's another story, and that goes to bigger conversations.
Okay, I'm trying, Michael.
Thank you, Anya.
Thanks for asking, though. Does anyone else have any other questions about the program, the school, the year, the curriculum, Georgia, TBI, outside of clergy? Jenny, I see you just unmuted yourself.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what they're covering in Tefillah this year.
Yeah. It's a good question. So this is also a longer answer, and I will give you the full answer. For the past 3 years, wait, has it been 2 or 3 years since Josh has been here? 3. Okay, for the past 3 years since Josh has been on our team, we have been teaching tefillah with a focus on breadth and not depth. Meaning the goal is so that our learners have familiarity with as many tefillot as possible. Not necessarily that they know all of them very, very deeply. We're shifting this year and trying out the opposite strategy, which is depth and not breadth, and seeing what the result looks like. Partially because we want at the end of the year for them to know something really, 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 really well, enough so that they can get on the bima and lead that thing very beautifully. Part of this shift is a response to folks wondering like what is happening during B'nai Mitzvah, and is it possible for them to lead more of Musaf? Is it possible for them to lead more of Kabbalat Shabbat? What is it possible for them to lead more of? I know that Elizabeth probably has the experience of Cantor Blum, and you lead every single thing of everything, but his teaching style was really, really different than mine. Elizabeth, you can obviously speak to this more than I can, but my understanding is that it was a lot of repetition, and then there was a lot of just like this, I don't even know what the word is for this, but like you keep going and you have to work hard, and there were repercussions if you didn't, and there's this really high level of expectation. Look, the result is that all of those people know all of those things really, really, really well, but I'm not so sure that the way that they got there and the experience that they had in there is what my values are for this educational space. There's no negativity there. He is a very beautiful human, and everyone he taught loves him and loves TBI and is really good at tefillah. That's all very, very excellent. We don't really have that cantor. Part of why it was successful also is because we had a cantor who people had a relationship with. So when they got to the B'nai Mitzvah experience, even if it had that level of intensity, it was with someone that they knew. It was with someone who was on the bima. It was with someone who was part of our community. We're really missing that. I'm missing it really wholeheartedly. some people in the community aren't missing it at all. That's okay. We're looking at what that means this year, what kind of gap we do or don't have, and how we might be able to fill in that gap or not. But in this moment, that was a really long answer, Jenny. I'm really sorry. You really just wanted me to say like these to feel out. But I want you to know that like actually we're really reevaluating the strategy as a whole to say we're looking at fewer to feel out, but with a lot more depth, with the hope that at the end of each semester, these are the 3 or 4 to feel out that we really hope that they will be able to get on the BMED lead with confidence and certainty. I don't right in front of me have what exactly those to feel out are. I can pull up a chart. I'm happy to send it in an email after, but that's the scope of the Tefillah curriculum, how we're approaching it, what we're thinking about, what our goals are, and how all of those things fit together. Any other questions?
Yeah, just one. I mean, you know, like one thing that we did in TBI was just that it was required that you go a certain number of times per year to Shabbat services, you know, like a Friday night, a Saturday night. Is that not, I mean, actually, I really like the sound of the Shabbat learning, you know, that sounds great. I think that sounds fantastic. So it's not like I would say instead of that or anything, but is there any thought to like requiring that sort of thing?
Again, I'm going to give you the full honest response because that's what you all deserve. We are in a place where if people don't meet that requirement, there are no repercussions, right? When
I was wondering what the repercussions were when I was a kid and I don't remember. Like, I don't know how they enforced that. You know, did we get a frown? I mean, I don't know, but I took it very seriously and I had to show up. But anyway, sorry.
So, right. There was a different mentality, and it's just not the same for the families in our community anymore. When I first started, it was actually one of the very first conversations I had with two moms in particular came to my office, and in week 1, I had no idea where I was even. I was like, I don't even really know what Long Island is. Here I am sitting in my office, and these 2 moms came and said, you can't do Shabbat requirements, and this is why. I was like, nice to meet you. So welcome to TBI. So I using the word requirement feels entirely meaningless around Shabbat requirements because the people that aren't going to come, and I'm not going to do anything about it. So it feels really silly to be like, this is required. What I tried last year and the year before that was, instead of saying, hey, there are 6 Shabbats that you're required to attend in 6th grade, what I tried doing instead was putting onto the calendar that like, these are the Shabbats that everyone in 6th grade should come to, because what I know to be true is that it's much easier for you to say to Nicholas, we have to go this Saturday morning. And when you get there, Ford is going to be there, and Zachary's going to be there, and Ezra's going to be there, and Adam's going to be there. And so you know that your buddies are going to be there. That I think works a little bit better because then it's like a classroom opportunity. What I also know to be true when I just give a number and say that there's an expectation, and again, I'm really just using the word expectation, not requirement, because what it like, right? If it's meaningless, it's meaningless. But if there's an expectation, that I got so much pushback from parents who said, we can't give up 2 days of our weekend. We're already coming on Sundays and giving that up, whatever that means. But obviously it's a great experience according to all of you. So it's not giving up anything. But we're spending Sunday at TBI, so we can also spend Saturday at TBI. At one point, Jill and I had a whole plan about doing a Shabbat instead of a Sunday, and then that all fell apart, and it's been sort of hard to like finagle in my brain what that actually looks like again this year. But all of that is to say, these parents also said to me, well, we don't want to get out of bed and take our kids either. We deserve a morning to sleep in. Okay, like, right. Okay, so right. So what I felt like it came down to is that even if I really wanted the learners to come, sometimes even if they themselves wanted to come, their parents weren't in. And I can neither punish a learner for their parents not supporting the initiative, and nor can I like explicitly reward the learners who are coming for doing such a good job coming, because again, it's like a family decision. And so it can only, right, like, anyway, so that's where we are on the like Shabbat requirement experience. That is not to say, like, we also know that you should bring your learners to Shabbat because it's for your own benefit. It's for their benefit. Their B'nai Mitzvah preparation experience, their actual milestone Simcha day, is the whole experience is totally different if it's a place where they are comfortable. If it's they know exactly what it feels like to be here on Shabbat. If they know the other community members that are here on Shabbat. That's the thing that I'm worried about being missing from the Shabbat Sundays, is like, Kahal is just religious school. Look at all these amazing people in our community, like our tour mentors, like the people who never miss a Saturday morning, like our regular tour readers, like that I can't replicate on a Sunday. And so of course it's always in our best interest for everyone to be here on a Saturday morning. But I sort of, we talk about Shabbat so much. Jenny can vouch for this. We have spent and Jill, we've spent so much time talking about Shabbat. And at some point I have so many other things that feel really exciting and important, and I can't keep spending a lot of effort in a place that I'm just going to keep, hitting a wall. Jenny, I know you want to say something.
I was just going to say one thing that I feel like people in this community are great about is they really support each other when they have their B'nai Mitzvahs. So I feel very sure that our kids will be at all of each other's and everyone else in the grades B'nai Mitzvahs. So like if your learner's B'nai Mitzvah is like towards the end, they'll get a lot of great practice. During the beginning, not as much, but they'll at least have, like, I forget how many kids we have, it's 10 or 12, but they'll probably all have those 10 or wow, they'll have all of those Shabbatot. I feel like the kids are really good about that.
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Jill?
And I was just going to say also, Elizabeth, I don't know, even just like casually, because I've said this before too, like we will sometimes go on a Friday night, especially Friday Night Live once if we can get everyone together. But I also feel like we don't go Saturday morning like I did growing up. And then, it's so important especially as you get closer, because they really need to understand even more. But even casually, like if we all want to share, I don't know how everyone feels, each other's cells, texts, or if those that, if someone doesn't use it on the weekend or something, we can try another way. But maybe just even say to each other, hey guys, like pick once every month or 6 weeks and just say which one would work for us. Even if we went for an hour from like 10:45 to the end, just the boys knew and the girls that, oh, they're going to see each other there. It might just be enough to make them start to feel comfortable. It's not a long time. We can go for a little bit, but it might, I definitely know it would help to know that, oh, my class is going, or most of my class is going, and they could just, have fun together or whatever. So I'm happy to email everybody. I'm the class parent, by the way, right? I'm the class parent. Yeah, I'm the class parent. So I'm happy to write an email and we can collect each other's, cell phones if you want, and we can coordinate with each other.
Anya, on that idea, also just as an easy way, maybe about picking weekends. I realize some of the kids know the kids a year ahead of them also, so maybe helpful. And I know most of those bar mitzvahs are on the calendar, but if you could just send us a sheet of like when those dates are for this year's kids, that might be good dates to organize around.
That's a great idea. I love that.
We screwed up. Ezra, it turns out, went to camp with, as he calls him, JJ last weekend, and I felt bad afterwards we weren't there. So
he calls him JJ? That's so cute.
Unbeknownst to, I didn't know any of this. But if you could send that around, maybe that's a way to organize it.
That's a really good idea. I'd be very happy to do that. Another thing that last year's Kitah Vav, this year's Kitah Zion actually did sort of on their own is actually the learners made a group chat for themselves. And they even would do stuff like, I'm going to Shabbat for Friday Night Live. Who else is going to be there? And then if it's coming from them, it also feels entirely different. So that could be something, I don't know. I never have a good sense of like who has a phone and how they're using them at this age. But last year, everyone in 6th grade had a phone, and so they made a group chat, and that I think, has, I don't know what's on there, but they talk. I think it seems like But yeah, so I'll send the names with dates, and Jill has everyone's emails and phone numbers and everything. So just set up. That's a good idea. And I don't know. I don't know your calendars the way that you know your calendars. It's much better for you to pick dates that work for you than for me to tell you when to come. Okay, all excellent, excellent questions. What a pleasure to be together. I love this class. It's so good. All right, Georgia, anything else?
No, it was just really nice to meet you all. I'm excited for the rest of the year.
Good. Oh, I just remembered one other very sweet thing. This class is so good. Ella was the madrija for this class last year, and she explicitly called me and said that she loved being with them so much and asked if she could move up to 6th grade with them. So they have Ella as a madrija for a 2nd year in a row, and she loves it so much, and she really like has a bond with this class and your learners. So you should feel proud of yourselves that they made that kind of impression for her to commit to a 2nd year together with them. It's very sweet. Okay, that's all, friends. Lila Tove, thank you for making the time to be here with us. I really, really, really appreciate it. See
Thanks
you
a
all.
lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Night.